Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. We are on the air. This is Thesis.
3, 2, 1. We are on the air. This is Thesis. Everything is everything. I am your host, Jay Marie. How's it going out there, folks? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for showing up and hanging out with us today. Coming to you live from Zombie Land. Yes, sir. Well, I want to thank you all for showing up and hanging out with us today. I hope you find yourself well and healthy and safe. It's been a minute, but I am here. We've been really busy, as we always get busy towards the end of the year with projects. So it took me a little while to get here, but I am here. So I hope you find yourself healthy, well, and safe. I guess real quick before we get started, if you are new to the show, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button wherever you're listening to us. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Homebase or wherever you're listening to us on Facebook, or we are now on X, so you want to follow us there. If you like what you hear, also don't forget to tell your friends about it. All right. Let's just go ahead and jump in then. I've been thinking a lot about what we needed to talk about here, and something. It's kind of like so we've been noticing there's always all the time, throughout the years and year after years comes and goes, but there's always stuff going on in society, where people, protesting or angry about certain things or angry about politics or whatever. There's always something going on, right? And there's always people being led, it seemed like, by scrupulous people, groups, nonprofit groups, people who are out for certain agendas, coalitions of races or minorities or whatever, right? There's all these movements, there's all these people that come together and protest and riot, but then we have people on the screens, on our socials or on the news or whatever, and they talk to the citizens and their community leaders and some political leaders, mayors and congressmen, and riling people up. Some people have wisdom, some people mean good, others seem incompetent, and it's just seems to it's just something that seems to happen, and that's always happening. One of the things that a problem that I think we see in society is weak men, right? Men that aren't standing up and doing what's proper, or standing up and protecting their families, or standing up against oppression and these type of things, right? There's a lot of men who sit back quietly and don't participate in these, and fighting for what's right, or something. There's just a lot of weak men out there, and I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about, like, how do we, we've all been lost, and throughout our younger ages and stuff, we do dumb stuff, and as we grow older, hopefully we learn some, we learn some about ourselves and learn some about what's right and what's wrong, and maybe choose to do better in our lives and learn some wisdom as we go along. It's without any guidance, without any person that leading us or guiding us, it's very hard for us to figure this stuff out on our own. We have our fathers, we have our elders and stuff, but nobody really taught them either. Well, for the most part, like where we come from, there wasn't that much. My grandfather really never taught my dad too much stuff, and my dad really never taught me too much stuff. So it's kind of hard for us to, we have to work, we have to earn, we have to do these things, and we have to learn things that help us survive in this life, right? Things that men need to know, men need to do, how to be a father, how to work hard, how to, these things, right? And so people are like, they could become like cattle or like sheep. We hear the term in the religious sense, the shepherds, the pastors or shepherds are guiding the flock that's lost or that need guidance. And the people do need guidance, because there's no one, if we don't help each other, if families aren't grown in a certain way, right? If things aren't done in a certain manner, then there's those connections kind of get severed. Not really severed, but to where there's not that, you know, that trait, that essence of a shepherd that protects the sheep, and risks his life to protect them and watch over them. So people do need protectors. People need shepherds, right? So like in the religion, the Christ, asks us, asks the people to be servants of each other, to help each other. And he teaches that a true king is like a servant. A real king is a servant. The real king, the true king, is the servant of his people, those that he are under his authority. That's the true king. And the thing that we call the ministry is basically like the administration of the people, right? Shepherds, right? Pastors and shepherds that are leading the flocks. They're administrating the flocks of people, the flocks of men, of mankind, need leaders, need administrators, someone to guide them, but the administrator should know some things, right? You don't put a blind man who doesn't know, and I don't mean blind physically, I mean someone who doesn't understand things and probably isn't well educated and experienced. You don't put that person can't lead, can't be a shepherd, can't administrate a group of people, right? So an administrator should have certain qualities, certain qualities about who they are and what they know and these type of things, right? So when we think about like what the Christ was trying to do, is he was trying to lift up leaders, right? Administrators of the people. He saw that society needed leaders, so he said, man, I need because one can teach people, right? You can go around and you can teach and you can help, right? But there's only so much that you can do on your own, right? So you gotta, like in a business sort of, but this isn't business, but like in a business, you can't do everything on your own, so you need help. Same thing in the administration of the people, being a shepherd, being an administrator, being in the ministry, right? What we call the ministry, not in the church, but in its generic sense, the administration of the people. It's a lot of work involved, and for one person, it can become hard, can become very heavy load to carry for one person to be the administrator of. I mean, like, sure, one, like at jobs and stuff, you have managers and general managers, and they can administrate, a group of 20, a group of 50, right? Maybe even a group of 100, right? Certain, but after certain groups get so big, you have to delegate downward, right? So Christ, like the Christ saw problems in society, and he said, man, we need leaders. So he was trying to raise up leaders from the people that he was talking to, because he couldn't do it all by himself. A group of people is fine, but when you're talking about thousands and thousands of people that you're teaching and leading and guiding spiritually and giving them motivational speeches and philosophical lectures and all these things, that has a lot of weight, that comes with a lot of weight. Saving the people from themselves, helping them save themselves, saving a nation from itself, takes a lot of work. A lot of weight comes with that, right? So what got me thinking about what this is, because so I do a lot in the community. I help people. I've talked about how I work with homeless people and addicts and stuff, and like money, I make good money. So when if I have to give money to a homeless, to one of my homeless people that I take care of, it doesn't bother me or hurt me at all, right? But some of these folks I've been working with for years, and it's not just about giving them money. It's leadership too, speaking to them, and it's not just about here and I'll see you later. No, We talk, we know each other. He has my number, several of them would got my number, they could call me, whatever. So there's this communication that happens, right? There's a bond that grows with some of these folks that I've been working with. But like one of them in particular, uh, he's been doing way better. He got a job now. He's actually staying, like he works at a little shop, and they're letting him stay in one of the back, in the shop in the back or whatever. But so he has a roof over. He's not homeless anymore, right? So that's good. He's been taking steps to getting better. And along the way, along years now, I mean, literally years, I've been helping him and giving him money and talking and doing things if he needed a ride sometimes or whatever, stuff like that. I even, give him some money because the guys that he's working with have a little hoopty junkie car that they want to sell him, and he wanted to lock it in or whatever. So I gave him $100 to give it to them to lock it in so he could pay it off or whatever. No problem, because he's doing good, right? So as that person who's trying to help and lead as an administrator, right, in the ministry or whatever, we're leading people, we're helping people, but it's not just about here, and like yesing them and yes, oh, you're fine and everything's fine, everything. No, an administrator, right, a kingly person who's a servant of the people is not just gonna let them do whatever they want, right? Like, I'll help you. I'm going to help you because I'm a servant of you. But if I see you getting out of line, that help isn't going to come anymore. The king does the same thing. Like, so we, like we hear the term like God helps those who help themselves. Yes. When we work towards something, that and people who are able will see that and say, man, you know what? Let me give them a helping hand. Things like that. Right. But the administrator has to be able to say, no, you are doing wrong right now, right? You're messing up. We have to be able to tell the people in our families or those we are administrating over, looking over. We have to be able to tell them, you're messing up and you got to straighten out. And we can't be afraid of that. And it has to be done out of love. This isn't about, you don't, because you're helping, so you love them. This isn't about fighting or why are you doing this or why are you doing that. No, but you have to be able to tell somebody when they mess up. The other day, my friend called me and needed some money. And when I went over there, it was when I told him to meet me at a spot where we, in the morning, he was drinking. It was it was before 9 in the morning. He was already drinking. He was kind of drunk. And as I was talking to him, he mentioned that he was up all night. And I had to tell him, I said, say, man, what are we doing here? What are you doing? You want to mess up, you want to end up messing up and go to jail, go back to prison, what are you doing? If at 9 a.m. in the morning, you're drinking and you calling me and you asking me for some money, I had to tell him that behavior, so what he's doing is absolutely wrong. And I told him, man, you think I like, having to get up every day and go bust my ass every day? I said, nah, but I do it because that's what's going to help me survive. That's what makes us successful. We don't stop working. The reason we are successful is because we never stop working. And we have to be able to tell folks, we have to be able to tell our friends, our family, whoever it is, we're administrators, we're leaders, we're kings. We have to be able to say these things properly and correctly and with love, and not to show, but to tell people, to awaken their hearts and say, man, you're messing up. So how do we do this, right? So like not everybody is gonna be able to be awake, and not everybody's gonna get these ideas or these things to be led or whatever. So how do we who do we look to? What do we look to guide, to find this? Like, I want these tools. I want like my tool bag. I got tools, I got drills and saws and everything over there to fix stuff, right? These are tools that we need in life. Where do I go to find these tools to help me become an administrator, a better administrator, to help me become a better minister, right? A king, right? We have people in the hood, whatever, rappers and whatever, but all over the place, people want to, we say that we're kings and kingly and women are queens and all these things, right? Okay, a king has his house in order. You know what I'm saying? A queen has his house in order, has her house in order, but also servants, right? So there's these multi-level layers of what it means to be a king, what it means to be a queen, an administrator, a minister, right? But where do we go to find out? Where do we go to find the tools to become? I want to lead people. I want to be a good administrator. I want to be a good leader. I want to, I want to be a king. I want to be the king of my house, of my family, of my neighborhood, right? Where do we go to find these tools? We have philosophers throughout history with Socrates and Plato, and then we have the religious philosophers, the Buddha and the Christ, and for some reason it seems like for lately, in the past, certain amount of years, maybe a little longer, decade or so, they've been wanting to silence like for instance, the Bibles aren't allowed in schools anymore. So any wisdom that's locked, any wisdom that's in the Bible, whether from the old prophets or from the Christ or whatever, any wisdom that's in there, the newer generations aren't learning it in schools or whatever, if they're not learning it at home. So it's like a whole generation, several generations of kids, of people not learning these wisdom, these tools that will help them be successful in life, but also to help some of them, because not all of them will become, but some of them will become leaders, good ministers, good administrators. But in schools, in public schools, and then in colleges, like dead white males, they're like they're removing teachings of Plato or Socrates or these European philosophers and stuff. Why? Simply because of their color. Dead white males. That's like some racist ass shit, but this is what's going on in our schools. So like, we're from the hood, right? I want to raise leaders, right? Like we're not in gangs anymore, but we're, a lot of us come from the streets, and so we're tough or whatever. There's a lot of us out there. There's a lot of you out there that come from these neighborhoods, that come from broken families, that come from these hard places in life, that you have something inside of you, that you have the quality of what it takes to be a good administrator, a good leader, a king, right? But you need the tools. You need the tools to become that. And it's a huge process. But as we start working towards, fixing ourselves and strengthening our bodies and strengthening our minds and focusing in on what it is that we want to do with our life and what is the direction that we want to head in our lives, as we start doing these things start tightening up, things start getting sharpened. And the more tools that we have in our arsenal, in our tool bag, the better prepared we will be for life and its challenges and its battles going forward. Like multidiscipline. So like back in the day, people would learn karate by itself, or kung fu by itself, or wrestling by itself. And then MMA came around and mixed all these things, multidiscipline, together. That makes you a better fighter, a better defender, because I can defend against the karate guy, I can defend against the judo guy, I could go on the ground with the grappler, right? Multi disciplines will make you better prepared for battle, let's say in the ring, right? And to defend yourself, right? But also in the battle of ideals and ideologies, we need to be multidisciplined. Like, if I just stick to the Bible and that's it, I'm handicapping myself, because I'm going to be attacked by philosophy. I'm going to be attacked by science. I'm going to be attacked by history. But if I'm multidisciplined, I'll learn about history. I'll learn about religion, and not just Christian, not just one religion, many religions, the major religions. Right? Then I'm going to learn history and philosophy and all these things. Why? Because I'll be more prepared for that battle when it comes. And as a minister, right? The administrator of people, a king, a manager, a whatever, it'll be more tools, better prepared to lead them. Right? When we think of the art of war, that talks about war in a physical battle, or killing and all these things, but these things translate also into society, into the workforce, into business, into whatever. As that you can learn these tools, like for instance in the Art of War or Plato's Republic and all these things, to become a better leader, a better minister, a better administrator of your people, of your family, of your neighborhood. And if you are a good, strong leader that many of the people in you, then you will become a regional leader, a mayor, or a congressman, or something like that. Successful people don't just sit around and wait for things to happen. They work and they make things happen. And they're prepared with tools, with the proper tools, armaments. It's up to us to, people are going to try to tell us. It's up to us to want to learn these things, to look, to search them out and seek them out and read for ourselves. And if I want to be a better leader, then there's certain things that I need to know, certain things that I need to do, right? So for instance, like if we go just to some of the simple things that, like for instance, that are taught in some of the religions, uh that are nothing, that have really nothing. When we think of these things, we have to try to use filters, different filters, to be able to remove certain ideas where we can kind of dissect these ideas, like being able to remove, let's say, spiritual, mythological something out of a story where we can only see the what's tangible, what's hard, what's right, not fluff, right? So there's stuff that we've been taught, and there's stuff that they don't want us to learn because they remove, like for instance, they don't teach the Bible in school because of God and your religion. Never mind the God and the religion part. Fine. If you were to erase that part, there's still so much wisdom in there that is key to our survival, but not only for our survival, but in raising up kings, true kings and leaders among us. Like the ministry, when the Christ talks about the ministry, he's talking about some of you are leaders, some of you are administrators. Wake up, rise up, learn, purify yourself, become better, because you are a leader. You are a leader. You have the potential to lead your folks, your family, your city, your town, your nation. All of you are kings. The ministry is telling you, hey, a lot of you got your lives in order. A lot of you got your stuff going on good, but you're just sitting back. There's people out there that need leadership. There's people out there that need your help. There's people out there that need to see you as an example that they can follow. But not only that, sometimes they need help. Sometimes they need money. Sometimes they need a helping hand. They need a ride sometimes to their job interview. They need to know how to learn how to do a tie. There's things that people need that we can give them, that you can give them, because your life is in pretty good shape. You might be all out of shape and out of order, but there is a leader in you. There are things that you can do. There's money that we spend on, on goofy things, on things that really don't matter. And then when it comes to giving the guy $5 at the corner, we feel a certain way about it. You are a leader. There's a leader inside of you, but you can't lead people. You can't love people until you love yourself. You can't lead people until your life is in order, right? How am I going to fix the world if I can't even straighten out my room, right? I can't even fold my clothes. I can't even wash my dishes. How am I supposed to help people? No. So I got to start at home first. I got to start here first. I want to be a leader. Okay. Well, let me tighten up my thing first before I can affect anybody in any positive way, right? But I need the tools to know how to do that. All right, start here first, inside me first, individual first, in our homes first. And then, okay, so now we're starting. what do I do? How much time do I spend on bettering myself? How much time do I dedicate to learning, to studying, to, reading books or listening to audiobooks or looking at documentaries and listening to, speeches and presentations and stuff. How much time do I have to give, right, for something like that to work? Right. Well, mathematically, 10% is a pretty good start. 10% of your time, 10% of your day, 10% of yourself that you give to what is good. 10% of your day, whatever amount of hours that is, study something, do something, health wise, walk on the treadmill, go to the gym, right? Start with 10%. That's it. If you go less than that, it's going to take longer. But if you start at 10%, it'll be good. Not money, 10% of yourself, 10% of what you do, 10% of what you think and how you act. Start there. And then that 10% is like a compound interest. The more you do it day after day, the better things get over time. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. But another thing is that we're so used to having things so quickly, answers and delivery and everything that we need is at our fingertips, right? But when it comes to changing ourselves, it doesn't happen overnight. Like with exercise or with losing weight or whatever. Same thing with bettering ourselves, changing the way we think and behave. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. But that little percentage that you give every day, that 10% that you're asked to give, right, every day to something better than yourself. Give, right? Read, exercise, learn. You don't have to do it all day long. You have other stuff to do. 10%. Little by little, 1 inch at a time, heading in a certain direction. Those things help, and you have no idea how much that stuff helps. My buddy, he's been on the show early on, but Fabian, he got deported about almost 8 years ago now. He got deported to Mexico. No family over there, maybe, long lost uncles and cousins, nobody to help him, right? So I stepped up because I love him and he's my brother, but I decided I'm gonna help, right? And here's the thing. Is being a shepherd, being a pastor, you're leading and guiding, but see, how long, right? So like, for instance, how long do we just want to like lead people and help people, right? Like, just right. So it's more than just helping and giving and being there. It's about raising a king, raising a lion, turning from a sheep, someone who needs guidance, someone who needs help, to become self-sufficient, to become more like a lion, to become more of a pastor themselves, right? So like the 10% thing, I did a show about 10% a couple years ago, and he took that to heart, and now he's basically a small business owner. He's building his own furniture. He's building clienteles, but because he never gave up, and I never gave up on him, but he never gave up, and he kept learning and he kept doing the things that he needed to do. And at the same time, I was being an administrator. I was being a king to my people, my people. I was not only being kingly over him by helping him, but I was also being a servant by teaching and by doing these things. And now he's self-sufficient. Like I still take care of my dude, but he has he basically self-owned business and building furniture for hundreds and hundreds of clients, hundreds and hundreds of pieces of furniture over the past several years, but from nothing, from going to a strange land that didn't have any family or anything, but all it took was somebody to believe in him and help him. And now he's self-sufficient. Now he's his own king. Now I don't got to worry too much about anything that he does anymore. Like at first, keeping a close eye and everything, because things were so different, things were so hard. But now You know, he's independent, self-sufficient, focused, mind driven, like purpose driven, building beautiful furniture, making connections. He's a king now. He's a lion now. So what do we do when we're helping? What do we do when we're helping our people? Sure, they need help. They need to be guided. They need to be flocked and shepherded together and helped. And a lot of people don't have the strength to out overcome or whatever. And sure, they need some, but see, what some of us, what we need to do is not just do the same thing as herd our people and shepherd them and help them. No, we need to raise lions out of those. We need to turn some of those sheep, some of those into lions, so they can become lions and they can go and become administrators and kings and lead other groups of other people themselves. We're trying to raise lions, not sheeps. Not anymore. Because society is falling apart. Men are weak. Men are, they don't have any wisdom. People aren't seeking wisdom. People aren't seeking guidance or nothing. Society is failing, but it's because we are failing society. So in turn, society is failing. We need men, we need kings, we need leaders in society, in the hoods. We need people who are ex-gang members. We need people who've been in prison, but not just because you've been in prison and not just because you've been tough, but because you've been straightening out your life. You've been straightening out your life. You've turned your life around. You're doing positive things. You've changed the way you think. You've changed the way you are, the behaviors that you've done. Those, you folks out there, you are the type of leaders that we need. Leaders with balls that'll tell people, no, fuck off, fuck you. That's, fuck yourself. That's what we need. People who are going to tell, because what do we have? We have leaders who sit back and they get screamed at and they get, mocked and they get all these things by people who have no morals, people who have no, but they get up and they have loud mouths and they have platforms and they have all these things, but they have no morals, none of that. And we're supposed to just sit back and take it. Nah, it's time for leaders to be awakened. It's time for lions to be awakened. And like, we're not talking about violence. We're talking about telling people to get the fuck out of my face with that shit. Whatever it may be, shit that we've never even, thousands of years of human history, of written human history. We got motherfuckers telling us that this is how things are supposed to be now. Certain things that, and then you can't say nothing because they'll throw you off. Fuck you. There's leaders out there among you. There's people out there in the hoods. There's people out there listening right now. There's people that that have potential, that that if you just added it, if you just gave a little more effort, that person can become something greater than what they are. You can become something greater than what you are. If we just take a little effort and put a little effort into ourselves, a little focus, we have the damn tools in front of us. But these motherfuckers, they don't want us learning this stuff in school. They have people lying about, what's in these books. They lie to us because they know that we are already ignorant. They know that they could just come to us and tell us something about our skin color and then we're going to get all angry. They know that. They know that we're ignorant. So what do? They use us. They abuse us. They manipulate us. They lie to us day after day because they know they can do it. When are we going to stand up and say, hey, fuck that already? We can't do that until we learn something. We have to have some tools. We have to have some tools. And it's messed up because the most simple tools that we have available to us are in the books like the Bible, religious books that aren't allowed in the school and they are mocked and whatever. And even our own, we don't understand these things. So sometimes we're like, religion or whatever. But there's the tools that are in these words, never mind the religious part, never mind the God part and the, Jesus is God and all these, never mind all that. Take all that stuff away if you want. Look and seek wisdom wherever you may find it. Look how everything degenerates if you don't maintain it. Just like a car, if you don't look after it, you don't change the parts and change the oils, spark plugs, and it's gonna degenerate. It's gonna get bad. Same with society. If we don't look after society, if we don't keep an eye on society, if we don't actively do these things in society, it degenerates. we don't even know some of the simplest things, like when we think of the word prophet, we think of some sort of fortune teller, some sort of psychic prophet. Ooh, he could read the future. If we look for the Greek meaning of the word prophet, it means public speaker, someone who speaks forth. If I'm standing in front of a crowd, I'm speaking forth, not forth like, oh, in 20 years, this is going to happen. Not that kind of forth. But look how far we've come. This is what we all think. Think about what you're thinking right now. The word prophet, you thought it meant like a freaking psychic. No, it means one who speaks forth in the synagogues, in the streets, in the ecclesia, in the general assembly. We have politicians, we have community leaders that speak forth to the people. And the Christ says, beware of false prophets, false speakers that come before you and lie to you about whatever. We're not looking for the devil and he has to have horns and the tail and the this and that, the antichrist, this whole imaginary thing that we no. Beware of false prophets. Beware of speakers that come before you because they lie and they're gonna lie. And beware of those speakers that lie. Prophets, false prophets, community leaders, politicians, pastors in churches, whoever. Beware. And how do you know if they're lying? Well, that means you need to know some stuff, right? You need to know some stuff to know that they're lying to you. So you can't just sit back anymore. We can't just sit back and anymore praying and silently. No, it's time to pick up some books. It's time to read some stuff. It's time to step out of our box. It's time to step out of our religious box. Like nothing else exists but one book called the Bible. We are handicapping ourselves. And look what's become of us. Look what's we don't even know what the word prophet means anymore. The walking on water, what we have to try to understand is the reason why the Christ spoke in the manner that he did is because there was a tyrannical government that's listening and had spies everywhere and listening to anyone and anybody who might be a threat to their power. Like any other tyrant, like any other government, it's always looking for those who are going to step out of line and come against them. Especially a man, and not just Christ, but any man in history that not only that rises up because of what he's saying and this is that, but is rising others up. That's what made the Christ so dangerous to the power structures, because he wasn't only like, oh, look at this great leader and he talks. No, he's teaching others. His disciples or whatever, the ones that follow him, those were the next teachers going out. But after those, there was some out there too, I'm sure. Those that came across him and learned stuff, they probably went out. And so he created a method, and not a method. He created a way for leaders to be, to be like not born, but to be risen, to be, awakened almost. Leaders among the people. That's what made him dangerous. It's not just one man. One man can do some harm, but 1,000 men, 1,000,000 men. That's how you change society. So these things that are taught to us, they're so simple to understand once you dive into them. And these are tools that are going to help us, that are going to help awaken the lion inside of you, awaken the king inside of you. Like walking on water. The walking on water is basically like life comes at us in waves. Life always comes at us in waves. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. People are happy, kids are born, people die. Business is good, businesses go out of business. All the time constantly. There's waves all the time, right? But we can get to a place in our heart, in our mind, in the way we think, in the way we act, but doesn't come easy. It takes work. That we're in a place to where no matter if the waves are up or down, we're here. These waves aren't going to affect us because we're up here above the waves, and because of the way our mind frame, because the way we're thinking, our strength in our heart and our mind, our physical strength, our strength up here. Things happen, waves come crashing. Business, death, life, all these things. We can get to a point where we're physically strong, mentally strong, strong in our heart, in our emotions, that when these things happen, they don't affect us compared to the one who might not have his life in order, who loses it when mom dies, or who loses it when there's, something, because everything just, so we could get to a place to where these things won't affect us as bad. It's like walking on water. It's walking above the waves that come at us in life. It's a mental, spiritual, something that gets us there. It lifts us up like an enlightenment. Enlightenment is like a lifting up. Like being able to see, like from a drone shot from up there, you can see all the cars moving and all this stuff. Enlightenment is like that. You can see the moving parts. Speaking in tongues, that's one of the things that it's kind of a pet peeve for me, but because you know a lot of the people in the churches and who have experience in church, when we hear speaking of tongues, we because we've heard people speak in tongues, and it's like a blah, 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 blah thing, right? And like, oh wow. And you ask the pastor, man, how do you understand that? How does, oh no, that's the way the spirit talks. Your heart understands it, your spirit understands it. That's how it communicates with God. Like, damn. All right, I wish I knew what it said though, right? Oh no, but your spirit knows. Okay. How about this? How about speaking in tongues, right? Because the word tongues means not this, it means languages. You'll be able to speak in a lot of languages, is what the original meaning of that word is, right? You're going to be able to speak in languages, in many tongues, not blah, 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 tongue, languages. So once you learn these things, once you get to a spiritual place where you are lifted up like enlightenment, once you get to this place of purity, right? Internal purity, there's like an unlocking of communication. Like for instance, I can speak to you right now and quote the Bible and John verse this and that, and this one said that, and the holy this, right? But how do you speak those same words? How do you say that to somebody who doesn't believe in God, or is an atheist, or is a scientist, right? Who doesn't even want to hear. Like, man, don't mention no Bible stuff to me. Don't mention no John Baptist and all this, Peter and all this stuff. I don't want to hear it. Okay. But there's some wisdom in there that I want you to know. I don't want to hear it. Okay. So the speaking in tongues is not about, it's not this thing that they do with their with the noise with the tongue. It's not that. It's speaking in languages. Okay, fine. I'm going to be able to tell you, the atheist, I'm going to be able to explain these things in your language, right? I don't have to use the word God or Jesus or Peter, none of that. I'll explain it to you in your language, all right? The scientist, okay, cool. Same thing. I'll explain it to you in your language. Why? Because I know some of the scientific terminology and I could connect them, right? So there's a way of speaking these things to people in many different languages that they will understand. There's people in the hoods that are gangsters and know things from the streets and stuff, There's ways to talk about leadership, and there's ways to talk about these things. You know, it's so simple. How is it like? But see, that's the thing is that because over so much time we degenerate, everything degenerates if it is not maintained. That's why it is so important to maintain these ideals because of what's beneath them. You know, we have this pretty cover on the top, and Jesus and God and angels and all that stuff. Remove that top cover and look at the rock that's beneath it. That picture, that beautiful picture with the angels, remove that. There's a rock hidden behind there, a rock that teaches us these things. You want to be a leader, you want to lead your family, you want to be successful, you want to be a king in your family, in your kingdom, right? In your world, then there's certain things that you need to know. There's certain things that you need to do, like the 10%. You want to succeed? 10% of yourself, right? To what is good, to progress, to something that's good, to aim to something better, right? The prophets, beware. There's a lot of people out there that are going to be lying to you. Why? Because they like to cheat. They like to steal. They want your money. They want your vote. Beware of the false public speakers. Fasting, it's not about food. Take a break from your damn screens. Take a break from the things that you do. Take a break from the things that you consume every day. Right? We're on our phone all day. Twitter, take a break because you're consuming all day. Same thing with me. Like I like to read. I like to do audiobooks, and I'm always consuming information. Sometimes I got to tell myself, take a break for a day or two. Stop listening to audiobooks. Stop searching and stop seeking because, you know, it gets heavy. It's like, oh man, take a break. Let your mind rest. Fasting is break from what you consume, not just food. I mean, to me, it's not even about food because, you know, like, again, I asked the pastor, well, how does fasting get you closer to God? Oh, but you're hungry and you get closer. That doesn't mean anything. But when you take a break from, you know, your daily activities, your work, your whatever you're doing, you have time away from those things that pull you. So now you have time to think, to contemplate, to pray, maybe to meditate, right? Because I'm not as busy. I took some time away, right? So now I can see how that kind of fasting connects you closer to God or whatever. Being thrown into the fire, like in the books, they talk about how you know there was a king of what was it, Persia or whatever, and they had the kids, and they built a statue and they told everybody to bow, and the kids, them three kids, didn't bow, so they threw them into the fire, and they survived the fire, right? Like, whoa, how is that even possible? Right? Is there any examples like of anything like that happening here and now in our modern day, where someone is thrown into the fire because of something that they refuse to do and survived, came out on the other end even more blessed than before? I could think of one that comes to mind. Our friend Jordan Peterson, years ago, he was thrown into the fire because of certain things that he said that were principled, that were based on a rock, right? That were based on a rock that he knew couldn't be broken. He knew that this rock that he stood on couldn't be affected, couldn't be chipped away, couldn't be broken, couldn't even be pushed over. So because of his words, you know, the masses of angry people came, and then he was thrown, he was, you know, metaphorically thrown into the fire, right? Because he was being attacked from everywhere. His colleagues, right? His employment, the people he works for, and friends and people turning on him. Well, how, because of these words, how could you, you know, how could you not bow down when you were told to? Because he knew that this rock was stronger than that idol or than that God that wanted him to kneel, right? So he stood firm. He said, nah, I'm not going to bow. And the fire got turned up for a long time. And it almost consumed him. But he stood firm because he knew and he understood that this rock can't be broken, that this rock is fundamental. It's the rock basis of all ideals. And if you stand on it, if you refuse to bow to the false idols and the gods of the people, and you are thrown into the fire because you are innocent, you will survive that fire. And when you come out of the fire, you will be even more blessed because of it. Now, many of you out there already know. Like, you look at where Jordan Peterson is now compared to where he was 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and look at the story. And if you can see the connection between the two metaphorically, he was thrown into the fire pit and he came out on the other side. And he wasn't burned. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't injured. He didn't die. It almost consumed him. But look how he came out on the other side. There's principles that if we follow, if we stand on, there's a rock that we can stand on, that we can build our houses on, that we can build our nations on, our temples. There's a rock that's unbreakable. And we need to find the tools that bring us closer to that bring us to that rock and helps, the tools that will help us stand on that rock firmly and not be pushed off, and not to be, like tacked and thrown into the fire. And if we are ever thrown in the fire, we're not going to kneel, because we understand that this rock is stronger, perfect compared to any idol, any false god out there. We need to raise lions among us, because there's sheep. There's plenty of sheep, plenty of freaking sheep out there, but we need lions. It's time to raise some lions. It's time to raise some kings. You're out there, you're gangsters, you're ex-gangsters. You used to move work, you used to do all these things. It's time to tighten it up. It's time to start doing more. It's time to be that king that society needs. It's time to be the king that our family needs. It's time to be the ministers, the administrators of the people that our neighborhood needs. If we are to save this nation, then these are the work that we have to do. These are the things that we have to do with ourselves, but it's not only on ourselves anymore. It's out there. We have to do the work to those around us. We have to be the administrators. We have to be the ministers to those around us, the shepherds, the pastors to those around us. But also, once we become lifted up, because kings need to be made. Jesus was the king maker, right? God is the king maker. Jesus taught how to make kings. Okay, that's what his teachings was. His teachings are for you to become a king in your land, for you to become a queen in your kingdom, for you to become a king in your neighborhood, in your city, in your nation. We need kings, we need lions, we need strong-willed men that are wise, and not just wise, but strong and firm in what they believe, and educated and multidisciplined and all types of things. And we got to know how to fight. We got to know how to defend ourselves. We got to be willing and have the balls to speak up when necessary, when it's needed, when it's due. Enough is enough already. There's too many weak men. Turn on the Twitter, you see men, what's happening to men out there. It's time for the men to stand up. It's time for men to rise up. We need kings. We need lions. And that's what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do my part to help shepherd the sheep and everything, but I need to raise some lions. because this work is hard. This work is hard, and we need reinforcements. There's only so much that I can do. There's only so much that a few of us out here, that what we can do out there. There's channels and there's people that doing their work. We need more. We need reinforcements. And it's time for a lot of you out there. You have capabilities, you have abilities, you have skills. It's time for you to raise up. It's time for you to rise up, stand up, and start doing some more than what you have been doing. We got a nation to save. We got a nation to save, and we can't sit around anymore. Look what's happening on the border. We are being taken over. It's time to stand up. It's time to, and not just stand up doesn't mean just being obnoxious and loud and, commenting and stuff on the Twitters and on the socials or whatever. That's not enough. That's doesn't even do anything. The work is actual work in our neighborhoods, actual work with our families, actual work out there with the homeless people and the drug addicts. We need to do the work. This isn't something where you could just go type a few comments and paste it or whatever. No. This work is real. This work is hard, and it's time. It's time for you out there to get up and do your part. Educate yourself, purify yourself, strengthen your mind, your body, and your soul. We need leaders who are disciplined, who know the rock that they're going to stand on and aren't going to bow down to the false gods and idols. We need strong men and women now. That might be you. That might be you. You might feel a fire, a burning inside, a calling. It's time to do it, baby. Time to do it, because there's a nation to save. We can't wait any longer. All right. And we'll wrap it up there. All right, folks. Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I mean, there's just so much going on. I mean, and we can't just sit around. This work is hard. This is not a game. Too many people on the socials and too many people out there think it's a freaking game, man. They're making money. Fine. Hey, look, y'all making money, whatever, and that's all you care about. Fine. Y'all want to, grift on the movement? Go grift over there to the side somewhere. It's time for real leaders to step up and do what is necessary and what is needed in our societies, in our neighborhood, in our cities. Time to do it. So I hope you feel that calling, and I hope this message planted some seeds and maybe will spark that interest in you to go out and do something. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this conversation that we had. And if you did, please tell your friends. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button on Spotify yet, please do that, because that is our home base, or wherever you're listening to us. You can hit follow or Spotify, subscribe there, whatever. Don't forget to give us a rating on Spotify. That really helps us out. Share it with your friends if you like this message. We are on the socials. Facebook be bullshitting, so I'm on X now. I got the premium. I'm giving my money to X, so fuck Facebook, but I'm there. But they shadow banned me, so you probably won't see any of my stuff. Go over to X, J Marie Thesis Pod. I'm on X now. So much better on that side. So I thank you for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed this. If you do, don't forget to tell your friends. Reach out to me on the socials. I'm always available. I am actually thinking and working on another interview, so that hopefully will be coming up very soon. I'm working on it, so we'll do that here shortly. And in the meantime, I want you to take care of yourself. I want you to stay healthy. I want you to stay safe. Continue educating yourself, because you are a king. There's a lion inside of you that's just ready to come out, but there's a lot of work involved, man. There's a lot of work involved. Sheep do not become lion, overnight. So it takes time. It takes work. So get on it, baby. Let's do this. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Check back on us soon, because we don't put out content every day. Oh, please go over to our YouTube channel. We had Dia de los Muertos. I had Go Paint Day. So there's some new stuff out there that's cultural. Check out our channel. Got everything over there. So do that. And that's it. I will see you guys soon. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Peace out, folks.
This is thesis.